Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Strong Collectors Podcast. I'm Dakota, here with my co-host Jordan, and today we are talking about HasLab and how doomed it is.
I feel like
Um,
we've been really we keep coming back to the HasLab, but
yeah, I mean,
it's like
it's the hot thing right now. They keep putting out updates
well,
for it. We had a tease, and now we've got the actual figure reveal. So
it just keeps developing though,
it does,
like the I guess the plot keeps thickening, and
and
we'll get into that.
the groups just don't let up at all. Because I mean, if you're in any of the Facebook groups, I mean, chances are you're probably seeing post after post of HasLab stuff. Like everybody's trying to justify whether it's worth it, how it's a ripoff, if this would have
Con-
changed, how they
Convince
should
you to
have.
buy it.
Yep. It's everybody's got an opinion about it, and the Facebook groups are full of those opinions. So um I guess the actual announcement today was we're getting a Madelyne Pryor figure. This was teased during PulseCon, which feels like a day ago. So it's like we really didn't even get to ruminate on that tease. It was just like, oh, here's a tease, and there it is. Which I mean, it is what it is. Hasbro's trying to get you excited about the Ghost Rider Engine of Vengeance. The kicker with this, though, that makes this figure reek of desperation to most people is the threshold to unlock Madelyne Pryor is only 10,000. So for those of you following along at home, we need 9,000 to get Robbie Reyes. Then we needed 12,000 to get Mephisto, but now we need 10,000 to get Madelyne Pryor. So they like unlocked tier 1 as Mephisto, but then they said, oh, actually we've got a new tier 1 as Madelyne Pryor, because I think they kind of saw the writing on the wall that this is not going to really snowball as fast as they thought it was going to, and they had to kind of they can't lower the tier of Mephisto because that sets a really bad precedent going forward. So they had to kind of throw in a new first tier.
Didn't they say they weren't going to reveal anything else though, or is that just kind of what everyone assumed?
I don't know where I saw that, or I really don't think I saw or heard that, because I am pretty sure that Stan or Hasbro or somebody tweeted or posted about I think it was, yeah, Dan or Ryan put on Instagram. They had like a bunch of pictures of the VHS X-Men, and they're going to have some poster or like a limited poster of Cyclops at the Hasbro Pulse booth at New York Comic Con. And then they said like stop by and see all of the tiers for the HasLab. So that makes me think that they're going to have the third tier there as well, which means within the span of like a week, we will have seen the new tier number 1. We've already seen tier number 2, and now we're going to get tier number 3. And then we've got, I mean, that'll be like 20-ish days left of this HasLab campaign, and they're really not going to have anything to really boost
Entice you
anything.
to keep going.
Right. It's like at this point, and they didn't say like what day. I would assume it's got to be like day 1 or 2. So I would think by Saturday, if I'm reading into his Instagram post correctly, we're going to have everything. And then it's just to decide like, here's what you get. Do you want to pay the price? Is it worth it or not? And I think a lot of people's price breakdowns came from the tiers, like both tiers that we didn't know when we only knew about Mephisto being deluxe. Madelyne Pryor, so she comes as a figure. She's got a big cape. She comes with 2 alternate hands, which let me look here real quick. So they're fisted hands, and she's got one like kind of open splayed hand a little bit, and then she's got another hand that's kind of like
Yeah,
magic spell casting ish hand, and then a
but
skull.
there's no. I mean, they didn't even throw in the magic effects, right?
No, there's no magic effects. It's 2 hands, 2 additional hands, and a skull accessory that I think she just holds. Like it's kind of like the Thanos skull that came with the White Doctor Doom, where it was like it's not really an alternate head, but it's just kind of like an accessory to hold. And that's kind of what this is.
Yeah.
Not a
Do you
deluxe,
do you
that's for
think
sure.
was she originally probably, you think, tier 2 then?
Yeah, I
So then
think
they
so.
pivoted.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think she was at? Like 14,000?
I mean, I honestly,
15?
I don't even know if they have those numbers set. I think it's, I mean, they maybe have
Based
like
on,
they have like a soft number, but I think if we would have hit the human Robbie Reyes within the first week of it being out, I would think maybe Mephisto would have stayed where he's at 12,000. And I think she probably would have been more at like 14, 15,000. So,
yeah.
and I think they just kind of gauge it based off that. So they're like, all right, we didn't hit Robbie Reyes. So like, let's put Mephisto out at 12,000. Where like, I think if we would have hit 12,000 in that week, Mephisto would not have been unlocked right away. They would have put him still down the line a little bit and you would have had to like reach for it. So it probably fluctuates based on the response from the community at where they set their tiers, is my guess.
Mhm.
And I think that would be the
Yeah.
smart thing to do, because like if they had just made her like an additional 1,000 or 2,000 backers on top of Mephisto, you would have seen people just dropping like flies because they're like, there's no way we're going to get there. And
Yeah.
even so, like when she right as she was announced, I quick took a screenshot of how many backers we were at. So we had 59.61%, which it actually is, that was the lowest it's been, I think, since Robbie was no longer, like the human form Robbie was no longer a part of the campaign anymore. So then it was up to, I think, 61 or 64% at its peak. Robbie didn't get added, so it dropped down to, like, it was hovering right around 60. And then today it dropped down to 59. So we had 5,365 backers. As of right now, we have, so the amount of impact that Madelyne Pryor had, we now have
9,000 backers.
19 more backers. So since Madelyne Pryor was
Ooh.
announced, it jumped 19 backers. So that did not move the needle at all.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just really don't see this working out. I think
Now,
originally I was like, it's not going to get funded. Then I said, nah, it probably will, just no tiers. But now I'm kind of like,
I know your biggest complaint here was there's not nearly enough skin showing on Madelyne Pryor.
yeah, of course. That's all I look for in the female figures.
It's been very interesting seeing some of the posts in the groups.
Yeah, some people have been like, "Are you kidding me? They made her PG." It's like, dude, it's a kid's toy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so funny and also so sad that these guys, because they'll like compare. I saw one post comparing like X-23 and or X. What is that? X-23 is Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking that's the girl. My bad.
You mean Weapon X?
Weapon X. That's what I mean. There we go.
She's the 23rd.
Right.
X.
So I'm thinking of Wolverine, Weapon X, and Hercules, both of them in like Speedos. And then they're like, oh, why couldn't we get, which Madelyne Pryor is pretty much in a Speedo anyway, too, isn't she?
Yeah, she just have like those little undies and then some boots.
Yeah, and she's got kind of like a loincloth going on. And they're like, oh, but Hercules and Wolverine were shirtless. Why can't Madelyne Pryor be more shirtless? It's like, dude, you're weird. So sorry if I'm offending any of you listeners out there that were really hoping to get a sexy action figure, and she's not doing it for you now. But
we log in tomorrow, our subscribers are just they're going down faster than the HasLab.
These guys just don't understand. But
no,
yeah,
it's I don't know, man. I mean, I even saw some people who were like, I wanted Madelyne Pryor, but like I'm an X-Men fan. I don't really need Robbie Reyes or any of this other stuff. So it's like kind of what you said. I think people might be frustrated at like, why reveal it? You know, and then that's obviously you're probably concerned about what's going to be revealed this weekend then.
I mean, I hope it's just a trash figure that nobody wants, but I mean, if it's going to be Vengeance or Blackheart, I'll be sad. But I guess just save my money.
Yeah, we got other stuff.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, I don't know. Her cape looks super cool. Like that cape is, and especially if it's kind of like that softer plastic that's more movable, it looks cool. And I don't know, I don't have any real attachment to this, but I would like to have it just to like get a feel for the cape. But I don't think we really need to worry about it getting made. I don't know. I mean, I do really want this thing to get funded because I'd like to see some like toy photography and stuff with it. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't seem like it's gonna work.
Sure you would.
So yeah, I mean we'll come back whenever we have the
I was
third
we'll have
tier.
to give. I was say if we get that over the weekend, we'll have to do an update on that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean for now, I don't know. I think people have pretty much made up their mind of whether they're going to back it or not, and I really don't think that third tier is gonna. I mean, if they put it out and it's Blackheart, I bet we see the numbers go up. I just can't imagine we're going to see the numbers jump 40%.
What if they put it out and it's Ghost Rider Professor X?
I think people would be interested and confused. They'd be just too confused to even back it.
Or your Woolly Mammoth.
If it was the Woolly Mammoth, I think you would see it get funded for sure.
You think so?
I think they said that there's not going to be any riders where at that, like, I think, I don't know. Cause like looking back, I wonder if they would change that where if they don't release the tiers and if they would have said like, stay tuned for more like tier updates and just not said what it wouldn't be. And then people are wondering like, oh, I bet it's a Danny Ketch. I bet it's a horse. I bet it's this or that. Then I think you would have seen it fund within that first week because people would have been expecting something better than what we're getting. But since they said it's no riders, then people are speculating. They're like, oh, wait, this really doesn't make much sense if we're only getting figures. If we were getting bikes or vehicles or horse, then you make that 350 seem very reasonable. Like 3 riders, like $100 each plus $50 is like, yeah, that makes sense. But I think maybe they shot themselves in the foot. But then I guess you just have to worry about like the backlash of like, all right, we've revealed all 3 tiers and none of them were Ghost Rider, like riding a motorcycle. I think you would have seen people back out and be upset, but would enough people have backed out to not get it made? I wonder. And that's, we'll never know. But another interesting thing was I was listening to the ACBA podcast and Boog, who like I watch all of his reviews and updates and stuff. He was thinking that if the second tier, like he was thinking that originally like base level should have come with the human Robbie Reyes. I think everybody agrees with that. He was thinking if the second tier had been Robbie Reyes's brother in the wheelchair, that it would have gotten funded. I think absolutely not. I don't usually disagree with books so hard, but I think that's just so ridiculous that like, why would an obscure character with an even more obscure sibling have really pushed this over the edge? Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's like it's not a super popular character. I know it's not because I'd never heard of him. Like I know Robbie Reyes. I've never read a comic book with him in it, but I know him. I recognize him. If they would have showed the tier off that it was his brother, I'd been like, who is this?
Random man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to disagree with that one too, but
I think that would have made a lot more people more upset if it had been his brother. They would have been jumping ship way sooner, way faster.
Yeah, I agree. So,
I mean, what now that we've only got 1 tier left, Jordan, is it going to be Blackheart? Is it going to be somebody else? We don't have any teases. We know nothing. What do you think?
I don't know if it's just your power of persuasion, but maybe you've made me just assume it's Blackheart at this point. Yeah. But for your sake, Dakota, I hope it's not. I hope it is. I don't know what kind of demonic character that they could do that's a throwaway. Maybe a generic demon.
Yeah, no, I don't think it'll be that.
Demon army builder.
I could see like the Damian Hellstrom, like that could make sense because I mean, I could see it being. It makes sense in the way that it would be a cheaper figure, I think, for Hasbro to make, because it's like, yeah, you would have to like sculpt his chest, but other than that, it's just like
just a shirtless dude with a cape and pants.
Scepter. Yeah. So
give him a trident. Yeah, you're good.
I mean, I feel like that would be a super easy redo for an Adam Warlock, which I think is teased for coming up in 2023 or leaked. So I could see that being their like cheap way of giving us a figure. I think if it's anything other than Blackheart, people are going to be way upset. So we'll see. So
time will tell.
I mean, we could know by Saturday. So if we do, we'll post it on our Instagram. We are officially going to New York Comic Con. So if the tiers are there, we're going to see all these things in person. We'll give you a real update. Maybe we can talk Dan or Ryan into letting us take it out of the case and roll it around, play with it. We'll see if we can get like a quick interview with them. I don't know. I'll keep my expectations low, but I mean, once we say, hey, we're the strong collectors from the YouTube, they'll be like, oh, we've been hoping that you guys would do all of our figure reveals from now on.
We've just been too scared to ask you.
Right.
Now that you approached us.
I got so nervous when I read Dakota's DMs. Begging us to be on the podcast. So maybe it's not just me constantly messaging Dan. What I'd like my fans go out and send Dan, Brian, Dwight, whoever your favorite is from the team, send them a DM on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, whatever it is. Tell them that they should go on the Strong Collectors show. So
they won't regret it. Well, maybe. Just kidding.
I feel like we're pretty nice. Yeah.
We are.
Yeah. We I don't know. We should ask them some hard questions, but not like, I don't know. I'm not going to be a jerk like some people want us to be.
Yeah.
We want them to come back on the show. Of
course.
So, all right. Well, there you have it. We have Madelyne Pryor. Not great news, but the good news is we are running a giveaway. So if you would like one of these 3 beautiful posters or many more, you can make sure you're subscribed to us on YouTube. So YouTube is the only real entry point for this. You have to just be any random subscriber before we hit 200, because once we hit 200, we're going to be giving out one of your choice of Daryl Young's posters. I'll leave a link in the description of the podcast for his Instagram and his Etsy shop. His Etsy shop is probably the best place to go see all of his offerings. He's got Marvel, DC, some other ones. He mainly Marvel and DC, but he's got some other figures or other characters as well. Kind of in that like, kind of a Jack Kirby style. I don't know how you. I mean, especially his like.
Yeah, definitely like 60s retro.
Yeah. So yeah, go on there, check it out, because if you're subscribed, you could win one of those posters free of charge. All you have to do is subscribe. Make sure you leave a comment, like, share, tell your friends, post us in the groups. And until next time, stay strong.